So before I begin this video, I thought I'd let you know that the views on my videos are going down by a lot. I don't know why that is or why people aren't coming back anymore, but if you're not enjoying the content on my channel, then let me know in the comments below what you want to see, because I cannot read minds. And while you're at it, please click the like button. It's just one tap, it's free, and it'll barely take you a second. And subscribe so that small YouTubers like me can continue to entertain you. Hey guys. Alright, so let me tell you a story about the time my brother cracked my hair open. This was 18 years ago in the year 2002. He was a 3-year-old toddler and I was 6. So let's get on with the video. My brother and I have been pretty close since we were kids, and I've always been very possessive of him, still am to a certain extent. Before he was born though, I remember the classmates of my kindergarten would always post about how they have an older sister, an older brother or a younger sister. Nobody really talked about having a younger brother. So when I found out that my mom is pregnant, I started posting about how, yeah, you guys have all these siblings, but guess what, I'm gonna get a younger brother. None of you have that. And at the same time, I would pester my mom to get me a baby brother. Of course, 6-year-old me did not know that a mother cannot choose the gender of her child, but what can you do? And this has got nothing to do with today's story, but I thought you'd like a backstory because it's cute, right? So like I said before, this happened when I was around 6 years old and my brother was only 3. We used to love playing together as kids, especially with our Hot Wheels. We would splash water on each other. We even had our toy kitchen sets. So one particular evening, my mom, brother and I, we were sitting in our parents' bedroom watching Tom and Jerry. Amidst the show, my brother gets the zoomies like a little puppy. What I mean by that is he gets a jolt of energy out of nowhere and then he throws a pillow in my face. And that was basically him indicating that he is bored and he wants to play with me. He essentially wants me to chase him around and play the chore police game. Now, I don't know what that's called in English, tag maybe, I'm not sure, but you can Google it at your own will. So I started running around him and he started to pick up tiny little things and throwing them at me to slow me down essentially, which obviously didn't work because I would keep dodging each and every one of them. At one point he even picked up a handkerchief and threw it at me, which obviously didn't reach me, it kind of just flopped to the floor, and for some reason that made me laugh a lot. And my little guy took that as a challenge. So he went over to my parents' nightstand and he picked up a tiny tripod that belonged to my dad but had a lot of weight to it, just by the way. And he just threw it right towards my head. Just so you know, this particular tripod might have been small in size, but it was pretty heavy duty. I'd say it weighed as much as 3 iPhones stacked together. So anyway, after it hit me on my left temple, I went into shock mode. It was like 5 seconds of, just zoning out and trying to figure out what the hell just happened. But right after I zoned back in, I started to bawl. My mom was knitting at the time while watching TV and she didn't really turn back to see what happened, because when we were young, my brother and I would sometimes start crying for no reason, or even if we accidentally hit each other. And my mom didn't want to give attention to that because she felt it would encourage this behavior. So she just assumed that that's what happened again and didn't really do anything about it at first. So I went up to her, like right next to her, and I started tugging on her dress, still howling by the way, because at this point my head was hurting a lot. She kept pulling away and kind of smacked her lips out of irritation. But the third time I tried to seek her attention the exact same way, she turned around and did one of these. What? She then grabbed my hand and dragged me to my grandmom's room, which was downstairs. Now the whole time, from being in my parents' room to reaching my grandmom's room, I went into shock mode. This was because, first of all, I had never seen my mom react that way, so it was pretty scary. And secondly, all I knew was that my head was hurting. I had no idea what was going on and nobody gave me any additional information. So yeah, without realizing, I kind of stopped crying. Once we reached my grandma's room, my mom realized that she wasn't in there, she was in the kitchen. So she sat me down on her bed, asked me to stay put, and then rushed over to the kitchen to get my grandmom. And as I sat there still trying to figure out what was happening, I looked over to my left and there was a mirror. I couldn't see anything because the lights were not on in the room, and the only source of light was this tiny ray of sunlight coming in through the window. So I slowly walked up to the mirror, and standing in front of it, I noticed that the entire left side of my face was covered with a dark streak of something. I didn't know what it was, but I picked up my hand and placed it gently on my left cheek, and then I looked at it and I realized whatever that dark streak was had transferred onto my fingers. You need to understand that I was only 6 at the time and nothing this dramatic had ever happened to me before. So it was pretty hard for my little brain to comprehend what was going on. So anyway, I walked over to the balcony where the sun was shining bright, and as soon as I stepped outside and looked at my hands again, I finally realized what this whole commotion was about. Because that dark streak was nothing but blood. And then I also thought about how the left side of my face was completely soaked in blood. And all this epiphany was so overwhelming for me that in a few moments I ended up passing out right there. After I came back to my senses, I found myself lying on my back on my grandma's bed. My mom was right next to me and my grandma was applying sugar to the injury. I don't know why, but it apparently stops excessive bleeding in the most natural way possible, and it also helps to close the wound quicker. My brother was looking over at me from the edge of the bed, and I could see that his eyes were extremely swollen, I assume from crying. My mom told me later on that he at first thought that I was just joking and pretending to be hurt just to scare him, but when my mom explained to him what he had done, he freaked out and started crying a lot. My mom calmed him down and no one really said anything because, come on, he was only 3. He was too young to realize what he had done or be made to feel guilty about. And it's all well and good because it's not like it messed me up in any way. I hope you guys enjoyed this really cute storytime video. This is my finished look. I went a little Arabic this time for some reason, but anyway, don't forget to please like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot more than you think. And if you watched this far, comment tripod. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.